Good morning and welcome to KGUA in Wallala 88.3 FM. I'm your host today, Leigh Anne Lindsey, a filmmaker and podcast maker, and I have a wonderful show lined up for you today with several artists from the Studio Discovery Tour that is coming up again here at the end of the month and beginning of September. We're going to get to that in just a moment. We are live on YouTube as well, so if you want to watch this show, you can log in and go to YouTube and just search for KGUA. And I am doing a podcast called It's All That with art, entertainment, and horses, technology, and health. And that is going to be coming up later this year that I'm going to be distributing on several podcast platforms. And this is the morning show on KGUA in Wallala. Starting out with this weekend, we have the farmers market in Point Arena today from 3 to 6 p.m., and that's in the old pharmacy parking lot. We also have the monthly pay and take and also Wallala Farmers Market in Wallala tomorrow. The monthly pay and take goes from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Wallala Community Center. It still needs repairs, but also the farmers market's right there as well, and that's 9:30 to 12:30. Friday night, tonight, though, at St. Oars, there is Dinner and Jazz. Robbie Elfman and Ian Shearer will perform as part of the Sonoma and Mendocino Coast Whale and Jazz Festival. And they said to please make reservations. There are two seatings, and they start at 5 p.m. And that's St. Oars at 884-3335. Coming up this weekend, too, the surf market that you just heard their spot there, they have arranged for a mechanical bull in their parking lot. They are going to give free rides Saturday from 12 to 3 p.m. at Surf Market. That should be something. Now, I've ridden a lot of bucking broncos, the horses, that is, but I've never done one of these, but I've seen a lot of people have some fun at it. Also, this weekend at the Guala Arts Center, we have Senator Mike McGuire, who is coming to speak to everyone from 12 to 1:30 Saturday. I actually thought it was starting at 1 p.m., but we should check with Gualala Arts and see what the exact time is. And let's see what else we've got. We've got an opening reception. One of our volunteers is Thane Frevolt. This fellow comes in and helps us remotely schedule most of the shows during the week, in the evenings and overnight. And on the weekends, he puts together everything for us. And he is a programmer for one of the streaming platforms called Philo. Well, his wife, Maurice, and their daughter are going to be doing this Ocean and Earth, a mother-daughter and show, and their daughter is Sarah Fivold. She's going to do mixed media, and Maurice is going to do jewelry. That's 1 to 4 p.m. At the Point Arena Lighthouse on Saturday. It's in the Whale Watch room. Get this, there's a photographer by the name of Rod Whaley. I kid you not. There'll be hors d'oeuvres and refreshments will be served. That's in the Point Arena Lighthouse, and you can contact them at 882-2809 extension 1. And that reception again starts at 5 p.m. The Arena Theater has some great live music this weekend. Reggae, if you're a reggae fan, the Now Generation will perform, and that's going to be starring Grammy-nominated reggae star Pato Banton. So please, if you are interested, contact Arena Theater or go to arenatheater.org, and the doors open at 7:30, and the show goes live at 8 p.m. And all weekend long up in Mendocino at the Mendocino Coast Botanical Gardens, they are having their 26th anniversary of Art in the Gardens. More than 50 artists display their work, live art demonstrations, and live music. Refreshments will be available for purchase. That's 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Fort Bragg, north of Mendocino, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And now it is time. Oh, wait, I have one more, and that is the Play Day at Fort Ross. They've been doing a lot of great events there for family, for the kids. And sure enough, again, this weekend on Saturday, they've got Pirate Play Adventure, and that's led by Pirate Warren. Kids will hunt for treasure, and the costumes are encouraged. It's for ages 4 to 11 with adult supervision. And there is a cost, so contact them at 847-3437 to find out more, or email them info@fortross.org. And then 1 to 3 p.m., they have an art opening reception for an exhibit featuring the works of artist Marissa LeCount. And then they have a core ball tournament from 2 to 4 p.m. I used to play racquetball, but apparently you play this one sitting down. Never done that before, but that's at Fort Ross. And that's this Saturday, starting at 10 o'clock, and looks like it's going to go till 4 p.m. And lots more that's going to be coming up this week in jazz at Thursday at the Lodge. And that's, again, our favorite local saxophonist, Harrison Goldberg, and acoustic guitarist, Greg Blunt. They'll be playing Bay Area Latin percussionist with the Bay Area Latin percussionist, Phil Montalvo. And that's going to be at the Lodge, 6 to 9 p.m. on Thursday. And that's it, folks. We've got 4 guests on Zoom. I've got one here in the studio, and we are going to be talking everything Studio Discovery Tour. And let me just tell you about this for a moment. We've got Walt Rush, who does silver jewelry and design, Siobhan Elder, and she does beautiful silk scarves and so much more she'll tell you about. And then also we have Kathryn Weiss or Weiss. I'll find out in just a moment. Okay. And the Studio Discovery Tours, I'm showing the followers on YouTube here. It starts Saturday through Sunday, August 26th through 27th weekend. And then it goes again into September 2 through 4. There's going to be 43 artists, 24 studios represented, and 5 tour days, because they do a Monday for September 2 through 4. And all days are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I'm going to find out where we have some music playing in the background. Guideline. And I'm not sure where that's coming from. Hold on one moment here. And there we go. Okay, so now I can invite my guest to say good morning. Good morning, Walt. We'll start.
Good morning. Thank you for having us to talk about the studio tour.
Yeah, thanks for coming on at the last minute too. Boy, you gathered everybody so quickly. That was great. And I have here with me in the studio, I'm going to let him introduce himself. Good morning.
Good morning. It's Bruce Jones, and I do mostly watercolor, some sculpture, other stuff, and I'm coordinating the tour this year.
Oh, you're coordinating it. Wonderful. Well, I'm glad to have you here in the studio. And then Siobhan, why don't you go next? Oh, I had to mute you a while ago while we were playing, so there you go. Go ahead and unmute again. It's one of those things with Zoom, you know.
Okay, are we speaking now?
You are. Take it from there.
Good morning, I'm Siobhan, and I am very excited to be part of this tour. I've been a professional artist for 40 years, and this tour offers such a chance for a wide diversity of people to show their work to the public. And I've been an adamant supporter of this tour. I think I've been doing it for 15 years now. And I just love seeing other artists get a chance to get their work into the public eye. There's a statistic out there that says 98% of artwork never makes it to the public eye. And that's sad. I love to see everybody having a chance to show their work.
I do too. It's one of my favorite studio discovery tours, where you get to go to everyone's home all up and down the Sonoma and Mendocino coasts. And I remember meeting Walt during one of them in one of the Sea Ranch homes, and I did a video of him and the woman that was with him. So it's something that means a lot to me. And also I have a son who's a graphic artist, and he is the one that helped create this banner behind us. He's also worked in the video game industry as the user interface and user experience artist. And that's up in Seattle where he is. But Eric Wilder started with this logo, and then my son took it from there and made it pop like it is now. But we're going to get back to Kathryn now. Kathryn, introduce yourself.
Well, I have been on, this is my 5th time doing the tour. In 2020, we skipped a year, obviously. And I do lampwork beads. That means I use a torch to make glass beads. And because I make the beads myself, I can design the necklace or the earrings and then make the beads to match, which to fit what I need instead of going down and hoping to find a bead that matches what I want in that piece. And the fifth time doing the studio tour, I'm doing it with 4 other artists. So there'll be 5 of us at one location. And there was a little glitch in the brochure. Our location, which is number 21, will not be open on Labor Day Monday. We will probably be all exhausted by then.
And if anybody gets these little brochures, they can see all the different numbers in the studios and the locations. There's maps, and you can pick yours up right here at the station. Bruce just gave us a whole pile to give away to the locals. And I want to mention Siobhan too. I remember going to your place last year, and it was up in the Redwoods up by 10 Mile, wasn't it?
Yes, we're right off the north end of 10 Mile Road.
And
So
you,
either
that's a
through Point
beautiful
Arena.
place. Beautiful.
Oh, yes, our grounds here are beautiful. My roommate does awesome work. And we have 4 other artists showing here also. And again, in my desire to encourage new people to be showing, and we have 2 new people this year that have never shown on the tour. Judith Fisher with her beautiful collages, and Arlene Guaro, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, with her mandalas. And then Nicolette Kalibi will be here with her hand-painted leather. And Marla Sparkle Skibbons will be here with her jewelry and her exquisite glass pieces.
Oh, is she related to David Skibbons?
Yes, I believe she's his wife.
Okay.
She's the sparkly side of that.
Yeah, they're
couple.
sea ranchers. And what about you? I'm going to just ask you, Kathryn, again, where is your location with the other artists that are showing?
It's on Sunset, and we're a mile up from Highway 1. So follow the signs, and then you'll be turning up a private driveway that's shared by several other houses, and we're at the end of that. If you know Sunset, we're up by the water tank.
It's a beautiful location. Yeah. Peggy and
Beautiful.
Susan live up there.
And it's often above the fog, which is kind of nice.
It is. And Walt, where are you exhibiting this year with all your jewelry? And I want to show the audience on YouTube, I'm wearing a lot of his artwork on my fingers and my wrists that you've done. I love your silver work.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to be with Kathryn also. We're going to be up at Paula Heyman's house, Studio 21, and we're going to be with Emma Hurley. She does painted apparel and ceramics, and we're going to be with Pam Powell, who does digital photography, and then of course Kathryn and myself do jewelry. For 50 years I've been doing it.
50 years.
One day I'll decide what I really want to do when I grow.
Where were you before you hit the coast?
I was in Ohio. I had a 4,700 square foot retail jewelry store for 30 years. And that was Akron, Ohio. I was 1 block off the University of Akron campus.
And what about you, Bruce? How long have you been doing your artwork, and describe a bit about what you do and where you're going to be located?
Okay, I'm located at my house in Gualala on Robinson Reef Drive, and I've been on the coast since 2000, and I lived damn near everywhere in Washington, Oregon, and California.
You're a nomad like I've been.
Yeah.
So,
what else?
and how long have you been, what got you into doing your artwork?
Okay, I always did art. That was a requirement of anybody in my mother's family, is you had to play a musical instrument, you had to paint or draw or do something in art.
You had that support.
That cultural requirement. You gotta get into culture. So anyway, I always did that, but all my education was in business and economics and very quantitative. But I always drew and painted too. So in 1987, I started painting a lot more. And I knew then that I wanted to, when I retired, I wanted to do art full time. So I did. And it's worked out.
What a lovely way to live your life too.
Yeah.
Right. And
It
then
is.
how and did you get involved with coordinating this year's Studio Discovery Tour?
Well, I've been on the edge of coordinating it for several years
while.
here, maybe 15. So this year, I decided to be coordinator, and but continuing to work closely with Jenny and Mike Henderson, even though they're not on the tour this year.
Oh,
Mike did all the design of all the materials, and Jenny's doing the signs for the tour, but they decided to take a year off.
I love her wool blankets.
Yeah. And
Wool work.
Cynthia Myers, that Walt
the
showed
glass-
for a long time.
Glass work.
Cynthia with her glass is not going to be on the tour this year. She decided that after 20 years, she could take a year off, but she's coming back next year.
What does it take to coordinate something like this?
It's not that bad if you're used to project management, and I had a lot of experience in that.
You were perfect for the job.
Yeah.
I used to have to do that in the tech industry too, project
too.
management and rollout of
Exactly.
software programs, right?
There's no beta test on Studio.
There's no dress rehearsal.
No, and you can't miss your dates. It's going to be the last weekend in August and the Labor Day weekend, regardless of whether you're ready or not.
And whatever weather there is.
Yeah.
Foggy,
That's right.
if it rains.
Yeah. You can still see it.
And so
Ridge,
you had something to say.
hot if you're on the ridge, it's hot, right, Sean?
Just delightfully warm.
Just bring a little mister, lots of water, a little fan if you got one.
There you go.
No, here on 10 Mile, we're never too hot. It was up at Kelly Keevy's. It used to get hot, but no, we stay very temperate here on 10 Mile, and I assume you guys will up on Sunset too. Sometimes it's nice to get out of the fog and come visit those of us who are above
It's
the fog.
been a really cool summer this year.
Last year, we had one weekend that was cold and foggy, and then Labor Day weekend, it was really hot. So the layered look is always in.
Yes. I remember that weekend last year because I was at Jolly and Lorraine's house in Sea Ranch and looking at their artwork, and I actually had some heat stroke because I had not been drinking water. So don't let that happen to you. Just stay cool if it is warm out there, because these are fabulous places to see all the different homes. So does somebody want to describe what it takes? I mean, what the kind of homes are and the length and breadth of the whole tour, where it starts or the length of it. Why don't you do that, Bruce?
This is the first year that it's been as far from the farthest south place to the farthest north place. Farthest north this year is Mountain View Road at Andrea Polk's place, and she and Barbara Fast and
Brenda
Phillips are going to be there. And then the farthest south place is a lady that hasn't been on the tour before, and she's in Timber Cove.
I was wondering if you were going to say that. Timber Cove.
Yeah, and
well, better get
she
your
is
start early.
yeah, it's we thought that's going to be tough being in Timber Cove with nobody else south of Sea Ranch. She's not worried a bit, and after you see her stuff, you won't be worried either. She's got some interesting work.
Well, you can go down to Timber Cove and stop at the Timber Cove Resort and go to their coast kitchen and have something to eat too. I mean,
Right.
It's a perfect place to be down at Timber Cove. And then it's just really, it's not that long a drive up to the Sea Ranch. It just has a lot of curves, but it's just kind of like us going from here to Point Arena.
Yeah.
Distance wise.
Yeah, about 10, 15 miles.
And the other place at the far north is up by Manchester.
You go up Mountain View Road.
Oh, you do go Mountain
It's
View.
a couple of miles up Mountain View Road to Andrea's place.
It's one of the most beautiful roads too here in the Mendocino County. I love all the different parts of Mendocino County, and that shows off it's like having a tour of both counties while you get to look at this fabulous art and even buy some. Let's talk to Siobhan again. Siobhan, tell us a bit more about your artwork. And I should tell the audience, I just need to interject that this is KGUA in Wallala, 88.3 FM. I'm Leigh Anne Lindsey, your host today, and we're talking with several of the artists who are on the Studio Discovery Tour and the coordinator, Bruce, your last name?
Jones.
Here in our studio today, and the rest are on Zoom, and we're on YouTube, so you can watch this anytime and listen in. So Siobhan, let's hear from you for a little bit.
My medium is qualified under the fiber arts, and I've been hand painting silk for the better part of 40 years as my full-time living. I paint mainly scarves, wraps. This year I ventured out and I had a show at the Wallala Art Center in the month of June with 20-foot tall redwoods. And I've actually been working on another piece for the Art in the Redwoods show this August that's a fairy circle with 8 20-foot tall redwoods on it. So I'm venturing out of art for sales sake, for lack of a better term, that I've had to do for the last 40 years to make a living doing this, and really loving the fact that we have this amazing art center here in this community that one can show at, and encouraging others to do the same.
I'm glad you brought them up, because that is Art in the Redwoods, another event that we have this month, and they have the Top Hat Dinner that's on Thursday to kick everything off. Does anybody want to say just a little bit about that? I need to get Seuss on here to talk about that. But Siobhan?
The Art in the Redwoods, one of the things I love about it, much like the studio tour, is that everybody gets a chance to show their art. So no matter what your work is, it's not a juried show. If you want to submit a piece, it's going to be displayed.
Really?
Again, that is one of my passions, is making sure that people get their art out into the public. I've been very fortunate that I've been able to make a living as an artist. And I know most people don't have that opportunity, or haven't. I shouldn't say opportunity. I've worked very, very, very hard to make a living as an artist. But it was a combination of many things that allowed me to do that. So my passion is getting other artists to get their work out to the public and let the public see their work too. And Wallala Arts allows that for everybody here. We're so lucky in this community to have the Art Center. They support the Studio Discovery Tour. We all work very symbiotically together.
I'm so glad Eric Wilder joined them as well. And Seuss, he's been there for over 2 decades, championing everything, especially during the pandemic when everything was such a challenge, and keeping it going. And this is the first time we're back in person for the dinner this year. And I want to go to Kathryn now and give you time to talk about what it is that you're doing, and more about your history.
Well, what I do, I come from a science background, and I did a little bit of scientific glass blowing as an undergraduate. But it was, at that time, it was just test tubes and really boring things in clear. Fast forward to the 90s, I was living and working over in Davis at the craft center there. And they had everything from glass blowing, stained glass, fused glass, and we're starting to do some lampwork glass, which is a very old method where you melt glass that comes in long sticks and you shape it around a metal rod. And that's how you make the hole in the center. The rod causes the hole to be there. You layer the different colors. You can shape it with tools. I get some of my best tools at Pay and Take because I use a lot of old kitchen knives and things like that. And then afterwards, you put the cooled bead on the metal rod into water. The bead slides off, and you now have a bead you can use for jewelry. I make a lot of earrings. I'm starting to do more hollow beads, which are a little trickier construction wise, but I keep finding different things to try out. And I'm at Discovery Gallery, and I'd like to put in a plug for the preview show for the studio tour is at Discovery Gallery right now. So if you aren't sure which locations you want to stop at, you can take a quick whirlwind tour through a Discovery Gallery, mark which locations interest you, maybe buy some art while you're there. And then when you go on tour, you'll know, all right, I'm looking for watercolors. These are the people I really would like to see. And so that's what I do with it. With the beads, I really have fun making them. It's just, I find the time stops when I'm working. It's sort of a break. I wouldn't say a break from reality. It really focuses my mind on what I'm doing. And I find it very relaxing. So
Meditative,
enjoy it.
right? Meditative.
Well, you have to sort of, okay, you're working with an open flame.
Oh, well, you're alert.
But you do kind of get to a flow. And I've gone to 1 week workshops and the time just flies by.
Now, during the Studio Discovery tour, will you be actually demonstrating what you do?
Probably not. I haven't talked to Paula how she feels. But what I work for, my workspace is actually quite small. So the only way I could do a tour at my space where I make the beads would be to have people line up outside the window and just look in, which really isn't very, very good. I will talk to Paula and see if she minds me bringing a small torch that I can use for demonstrations. Normally, I just work from a propane tank and an oxygen concentrator. So it's very compact and very low. I don't go through an awful lot of propane. I maybe do a 5-gallon tank once or twice a year. So it's
And
not.
where, oh, that's interesting how much you go through. Where again will you be located?
I'll be with Paula Heyman, and she does woodworking, wood turning, as well as sculptural. And I can't put a category on her because every time I turn around, she's doing something different. But she is a really talented artist. She's up there, and she's very nice, very kind and generous to let all of us descend on her for 2 weeks.
Up on Sunset Drive, correct?
Yes.
Right. And Walt, I remember when you were at one of the Studio Discovery tours and I was doing a travel video series and I was videotaping you actually doing your artwork right there. Are you going to be doing the same thing or are you just going to be displaying this year?
I'll be displaying, but I'll also have tools and some of my rubber molds and waxes and things that I do in a raw form to explain people how I go from the raw form to a finished piece of jewelry. And yeah, that was at Mary Ann Baxter's place.
Mary Ann Baxter, that's it.
And she's up now. But yeah, no, I'll be at Paula's also. And I've been doing, like I say, jewelry for 50 years. A couple of years ago, one of our daughters asked me to come to the class she teaches, and she asked me to come to speak on career day to the children, which I did. And I showed them, different molds and tools and stuff like that. And then the biggest question they all asked was, well, how did you learn your job? And I said, well, first of all, I'm self-taught. And I says, and second of all, if you find something you thoroughly enjoy and you do that for a living, it isn't a job. And I suggest that that's what you do. Find your favorite thing to do and try and make it into a way of making a living. Like Kathryn says, time stops. I feel like I started this just 2 months ago and I've been doing it for 50 years. It's crazy. It really is.
And describe some of the ways that when you're working with, you do both silver and gold, but say, for instance, this one ring I have on my finger here, describe how you actually created this particular piece, and then also this abalone ring here as well, and any of the other techniques that you use.
Yeah, I cast in water and it gives me freeform organic shapes. I cast in straw. That gives me a look a lot of the times of driftwood. And I do cast shells up and I make molds from real shells. And then I incorporate them into pendants and earrings and rings. but they're all from the original shell, the molds are. And so when you look at it, it looks like the real shell laying on the beach, only it's in silver or gold. And I do hand fabrications. I carve waxes and do the lost wax casting. I just, I come up with more ideas than I can make. It happens. It's crazy. It really is. I really do enjoy it. And
You even do sea creatures.
yeah, yeah, I do. They don't stand too still, but yeah, I do seahorses, and I hand fabricate jellyfish and dragonflies and hummingbirds. Those are all hand fabricated. Parts of them I do make a mold of and cast, and then other parts I actually, like the wings on my hummingbirds, I have a press and I can stamp those out, and then I tool them and shape them and put them together. And I use a lot of different techniques in what I do. And
We even use some stones and other types of materials, correct, with the gold,
Yeah.
and silver.
sometimes I'll use a crystal, different kind of crystals. Like I made a big pendant one time when I was back in Ohio that was probably about 3 or 4 inches high and about 2.5 inches wide. It was a big, heavy piece. And it had a citrine crystal on the one side, and you could literally take that part of the pendant, not the whole pendant, just that part, and turn it. And on the other side was like a 64 karat faceted citrine. And so it gave it 2 different looks. And the outside of the pendant had citrine crystals around the piece, whether it was the crystal showing or the faceted citrine. But yeah, I like to make some big jewelry sometimes. Real big.
Real big, I know. And Siobhan, too, are you going to be exhibiting with anybody else this year?
Yes, I'm pretty overwhelmed. There will be 4 people here this year.
Or
Yes. And that is my desire to keep getting new people on the tour has me a little overwhelmed this year, but it's all good. We have Nicolette Calabi, who does exquisite hand-painted leather. We have Arlene Guaro, who does these mandalas. She had a single show last year at Think Visual. We have Judith Fisher. Many of you know her from Walala Healing Arts. She's been doing exquisite collages. And Marla Sparkle Skibbins. Many of you know her for her jewelry. I'm just seeing her new work working with glass, and I'm very excited about that.
oh, another glass maker.
Yes. So my reasoning, after being in the art business literally for the last 40 years, to gather people also is that it makes it easier for people to stop at one stop and see. I've usually just done it with 3 or 4 artists. We'll see with 5. To stop and see a bunch of different artists. I personally like showing in my own studio because I can then easily explain to people what my process is. Also, this year I wanted to do a shout out. There's 2 new gentlemen in town this year, Doug Smith and Perry Hoffman. They are on the studio at stop number, I think they're number
17. 17.
Excuse me. 17, thank you. And they are both bringing this amazing amount of energy and entertainment to the studio, or to the coast and to the studio tour. So make sure you stop by and see Perry Hoffman and Doug Smith. They are up by the Equinox Care Facility. So they're easy to get to. And let's see, who else is at my house? I guess that's all of us here.
And
I love having the chance to, as I said, for me to interact with people in my studio rather than trying to explain what my process is. I can actually show them. And
so you will be demonstrating.
Oh, yes.
Well, I love that part when I get to see how the artist creates their work, what steps they go through. I mean, if you're on YouTube, listeners, just look at some of the artwork she has behind her. there. That seems like it takes several steps, doesn't it?
Many steps. And like Walt, I'm always trying to figure out new things 40 years into this of how to get color into fiber and play with things and break the rules. And so it's a never ending process. And when I walk into my studio, I'm giddy, and that's on a daily basis. And I am beyond grateful that my father said to me when I was a young lady, figure out what you want to do, work really hard at it, and you'll be amazed when you get to the top how few people there are there. And he had done that as a photographer. So he was right. Passion. If you're passionate about it, the rest, it just follows.
Right.
And is it Siobhan or Siobhan?
Siobhan, it's an old Gaelic name, and
Ah.
the sh sound and the BH is pronounced with a V. But I
I
respond to just about anything and can cash a check with just about any spelling on it at the bank because they're used to things being slaughtered.
well, forgive me for mispronouncing it. Sometimes I'll say Siobhan and then I'll say Siobhan because I think I remembered hearing it from someone else. And I have some of your scarves. I mean, I've been gifted your scarves and I've bought your scarves.
Well, once people can know me for years, and once they see it spelled, they want to throw a B in there. So
Right.
I've always said that I can't spell because nobody can spell my name either. So it's fine with me.
Well,
And
we're
I
gonna,
to also just mention one thing, and that is that many of us who are on this tour have our studios are open by appointment throughout the year also. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping as we go forward on the coast here to get a group of artists together who want to have their studios open year-round by appointment to get some sort of a unity going there. So throwing that out to the community, that
great.
somebody who understands computers and social media and stuff, that there's several of us who are really happy. I love studio tour because I see a lot of people. I'm really happy when somebody, they have friends in town, they want to come up and spend an hour, that I have that personal one-on-one time with people where I could really explain things. I can even hand them a paintbrush and get them working on a scarf. I do ongoing scarves to give to women who are going through chemotherapy. And so I love it when people come to my studio. And I always say I just need 5 minutes to clean up and I'm open for an appointment. So a lot of us on the tour are open other times during the year. And that is worth people who are visiting to think about, that we are, ICS is becoming the Provence of the North Coast, that we have a great group of artists here on the coast. And with a studio tour is a fabulous gathering of all of us. But I think a lot of us are ready to be open, as I said, by appointment throughout the year also, and carry this studio tour idea on.
If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the voice of Siobhan Elder, who lives up on the 10-mile area of the Gualala North Coast. And we are talking about the Studio Discovery Tour, which she was just mentioning. And it is around again this year. I just was talking to a friend yesterday at the stables, and I mentioned to her that you were going to be on my show this morning here at KGUA in Wallala talking about the Studio Discovery Tour. And she goes, "Oh my God, I did that with you last year. You mean it's here already? It's been a year?" She couldn't believe it. But it is back, and it is the last weekend in August, the first weekend in September. It is 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day. It ranges this year from Timber Cove all the way up to Manchester. And we have with us today also Walt Rush, who does beautiful silver and gold jewelry design. He's been doing it for over 50 years. We've got Kathryn Weiss, who does some beautiful, what I understand, this glass work. I would love to see how you do it too, but I'd just love to see your creations, Kathryn.
Well, this is a necklace I made a while ago, and it might give you an idea about the size that I work in. You can see.
Ah, boy, small too.
Well, glass is fairly heavy, and
Yeah.
especially when I'm making earrings, no one wants to wear a golf ball size glass bead as an earring. So I have to work small. With necklaces, I can work a bit bigger.
So
But
glass jewelry, not glass objects then, like
I
Cynthia
make,
Mimes.
I make beads. And
Okay.
after I've made each bead, I lay them out on a board and assemble them. And that's what I meant about designing, having an idea for the necklace, going into the studio, making the beads, and then I come back out, lay them out, string them, and add accents, crystals, or metal beads, and turn it into a necklace. And I usually have things at Art in the Redwoods, which, as Siobhan said, it's a wonderful show because your art doesn't have to fit into a specific category. You don't have, okay, we're only taking two-dimensional art, or we're only taking sculpture, or you can come up with your own category and just sort of pick one to enter it in. And that's always a good way to see what's going on. A lot of times, I think most years after the first 2 days of Art in the Redwoods, they put up little stickers on all of the participating studio tour artists' work. So you can say, I like that. I want to go see
Where they are. Right. Well, that's the voice of Kathryn. Is it Weiss or Weiss?
twice.
Weiss. All right. Kathryn Weiss. And I'm Leigh Anne Lindsey, your host today on KGUA in Wallala 88.3 FM along the Sonoma and Mendocino Coasts. We stream everywhere around the world on kgua.org. If you click listen live, a web app will pop up and that'll show you what's on at the moment and also give you an idea of what's playing if we're playing music shows during the evening. And that's our app on kgua.org, and we're on YouTube today. So if you want to watch this later, you have the ability to watch it anytime. And then later today at 1 o'clock, it's going to repeat at 1 p.m. As I mentioned, it will repeat. And then after that, it goes on to SoundCloud. And this is Peggy's Place. And I'm also creating a podcast out of my shows called It's All That. That'll be coming up later this year. And now I'm turning to the coordinator of the Studio Discovery Tour, Bruce Jones. And I want you to tell me more about your artwork and your time here in Wallala.
Okay, but before I tell you
All
that,
right.
I've got one other thing to say about studio tour in general.
Sure.
We've the way that we're telling people about studio tour is not just through the show and by handing out the brochures. It's also getting people to go to studiodiscoverytour.com website that gives a lot of examples of each artist's work and links to their websites if they have one. So that's important. And that has really helped people in designing their own studio tour to decide which ones they want to go to.
You know, this is a real important part because when I'm crafting my time doing this, I'm always planning out which places I'm going to see and allowing what time it's going to take.
That's right.
Right.
And the other thing that you probably want to do is go to Discovery Gallery in Gualala down by Trinks, and you can see at least one piece of art by each artist. Rather than seeing photographs of their work, you get to see the actual work. So get down to Discovery Gallery and check that out. And about half the artists, if you get to Anchor Bay, about half the artists have a piece of art up at Whitecap.
Oh, they do.
So you can get a good cup of coffee or tea,
right,
and look at all the art there.
Great. And we do have some brochures right here in the studio, Cypress Village. That's the back of it. This is the front of it. I'm showing everybody on YouTube. But yeah, we've got these here. And where else can they pick these up?
Discovery Gallery is a good place.
Great.
There's a lot of brochures at, there's supposed to be, the artists are supposed to be distributing them. Some are better at that than others. But we're supposed to have these brochures out in every lodging place and store.
Lodging,
on the
art
coast.
stores, maybe Gualala Arts.
Oh, definitely. There's always a big stack at Gualala Arts.
Great. And so
Jack and Point Arena, Artist Collective of Elk,
Oh, they're in the tour too, aren't they?
No,
Oh, they're not in the tour.
but some of
but
their
they're along
artists
the
are,
way.
like Walt Rush and Bruce Jones both have stuff on Artist Collective event. So anyway, that it's really handy to be able to check on studiodiscoverytour.com. Check out the artists that you're most interested in, and go to Discovery Gallery and maybe the White Cap and see the actual art there. That's a handy thing to do.
It is. And then once you figure out which ones you want to see, then you can plan your day out. And fortunately, there's 5 days that people have a chance to get to all of them, because they do stretch from Timber Cove
Now,
to Manchester.
some of the artists are closed on Labor Day Monday.
Okay, that's important.
So
Somebody here mentioned that.
Paula Heyman is, that's 5 artists, including Kathryn. But that site is closed on Monday, the 4th.
The very last day.
Yeah. So if you want to hit there, do it earlier.
That's right. See, that's how you plan your day. Walt, you had something you wanted to say?
No, when he said we're closed on Monday, the Labor Day, but yes, Kathryn Weiss, I just recently sold one of her beautiful necklaces. It was blue and white, and it reminded me of the ocean, the waves, and because of the white going through it. It was a beautiful, beautiful piece. And you're welcome. And I'm going to do something a little different this year. I'm actually entering 4 pieces in Art in the Redwoods, which I haven't entered for a long time. And one of them is going to be a really large sterling silver necklace with charolite in it. And I'm actually doing 2 pieces of mixed media that aren't even jewelry. And I'm not saying any more than that.
Oh, it's a
Hey.
surprise.
We'll all have to show up to see it.
Can you show us anything on YouTube, Walt? Do you have anything to hold up?
No, I don't have anything in. No,
Shame on you.
I can get something. I have it just in the other room, but
While you do
I
that,
didn't even put any jewelry on.
I'm wearing Walt jewelry.
okay, let's see who that is.
I'm wearing Walt gold jewelry here, and I wear these 24/7. I love his work.
Those
It's
are
simple, it's crisp, it's diamonds. So,
those
and
are
I wanted to interject one more thing about the brochures. If you have a business and you would like brochures, please stop by the Discovery Gallery and pick up a stack. They're in there. We need the community's help getting these out also. And we as artists do try to get them spread everywhere. But if you're a business and you think your customers would be interested in this, please help us get these brochures out.
Especially for tourists who are coming up. We are experiencing quite a summer of tourists along the coast here. And if they're staying in your lodging facilities, they should know about these things so that they can explore the area where they're staying. It's a wonderful thing to do while they're here, right?
Yes.
Well, it's all
I've also given some to people that said they can't make the studio tour. I says, there's a lot of the artists that are open, like Siobhan was saying, year round. I'm open by appointment if people want to stop by. I have to admit, my studio is a mess by not showing in my own studio anymore. It did give me a chance once a year to clean it up, and I haven't done that for a few years.
But you're also at the Discovery Gallery too, exhibiting there
Yes, and
regularly.
I'm there every Thursday offering my services to the community for jewelry repair and custom work. And I do a lot of custom work for people.
And Bruce, you said your work is there too?
Yes.
Tell us more about it.
Okay. The work I have up at Discovery Gallery right now is all watercolor, but I also do stone carvings and
Stone carvings.
alabaster, and thanks, Walt, for a little extra alabaster and marble
I want
and
to see what you do with it.
whatever else I get my hands on, and some paper mache and wire sculptures. And what else?
Walt just says he likes what you do.
Good.
Masks, you do
Oh, let's
masks.
see. What else?
What'd you say? Masks?
He
Well-
does. He hasn't done them for a while, but used to do math.
I can't hear them.
Oh, you can't. That's right, because you didn't put your
Yeah.
headphones on.
I should have put the headphones on.
Oh, I think
Oh,
these might work. See if you can hear in
Okay.
there. But that would be good if you can hear what they're saying. Can you hear right now in your headphones?
no.
You can't. Okay, here, hold on a second. But hang on with this audience. I'm just trying to get the right speaker going for him. Does that help at all?
I don't know. Say something, somebody.
Can you hear now,
Hi,
Bruce?
Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
How's that?
Nope,
You-
I'm not hearing.
Let's
No.
talk about the fact that Bruce is
Oh,
on
that's okay. I
air
haven't
with
up till
you.
now.
Okay.
Work.
And he does, he has a big role in hanging most of the shows I've seen at Gualala Arts.
Yeah.
Kathryn said you had a job in hanging a lot of the art at
Yeah.
Gualala Arts.
Well, and we're going to start hanging Art in the Redwoods on the 12th. And we got a team of 8 people, and hanging is a lot of fun. Rehanging Discovery Gallery to do the preview show for the tour has been a lot of fun too.
I just had a friend up here. Can you hear a little bit more now? Just turn the studio speakers up. Maybe a little bit. But anyway, Ellen Storrs is with the Sebastopol Art Center,
Mhm.
and she helps to hang all the art that comes through there. And
Yeah.
she was explaining how, there are different ways to approach it, and working with all the artists is always, getting everybody together is always interesting,
It is. It's fascinating.
right?
It's one of the most fun things in art, I think, that you can do.
Now, see, here's the other aspect of art that these people are doing. And we just have a few minutes left here on the morning show on KGUA in Wallala, 88.3 FM. We are going to have this show on SoundCloud later. It's on YouTube right now, and it will remain on YouTube. You just Google KGUA YouTube, and you can also stream in anywhere at kgua.org. Just click listen at the top of the page. And I'm Leigh Anne Lindsey. This is Peggy's Place this morning, and we are talking about the Studio Discovery Tour that's coming up at the end of this month. It's going to be held 5 days. Now, not all artists are open on the final day, so make sure you get to those artists first, and then you can get to the other artists after that. But the shows are going to be going, and these are all at the artists' homes, and some of them are getting together. And it is August 26th through 27th, Saturday and Sunday, and then Saturday through Monday, September 2 through 4. 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. There are 43 artists and 24 studios represented during this 5-day tour. And this is the 31st annual Studio Discovery Tour. And this is a wonderful way to experience the local flavor, community art, the people who live here, to see where they work and to engage and maybe pick up some new pieces for friends or yourself. And Walt, you've been doing this how long now? Walt, this is Walt Rush, who does silver and gold jewelry along with lots of beautiful ocean type designs.
I've probably been doing it about 15 to 18 years. I've been on the coast here for 22. So yeah, a lot of years. Enough that I don't remember. It all goes by so fast.
His memory is shot, but he's a good guy.
There you go. Thanks, Bruce.
I can hear you now.
Now,
I can hear him.
Question for Bruce. I have a question for you, Bruce.
go for it.
You say you're going to hang things on the 12th for the Art in the Redwoods. I thought that we were supposed to bring it in on the 13th.
You're supposed to bring him in between 12 and 3 on both Saturday and Sunday.
Oh,
And-
okay.
And
Big-
that's what Sunday? This Sunday?
The
No. 12th and
well,
13th.
okay. The whole deal is on the 11th, we're receiving big and fragile pieces. And that's not many, just a few. And then on the 12th and 13th, Harriet Wright will have her whole receiving team there from 12 to 4, I think. It's either 12 to 3 or 12 to 4, 12 to 4, depending on what you read. But anyway,
Call Gualala Arts, right? To find
yeah,
out. Right.
well, yeah, that'd work. But that means actually that we'll be receiving 12 to 4 on both Saturday and Sunday.
Not this Saturday and Sunday, but
No,
the
12th
following
and 13th.
Saturday and Sunday.
Then we'll start placing on Sunday afternoon while we're still receiving. We'll start placing the major sight lines. And the way we do it, I'm not sure how Sebastopol does it, but the way we do it is we start placing the major sight lines when you go into one of the rooms of the art center. And it's going to be the whole art center will be full of art. There's more than 300 pieces this year.
Wow.
So,
and it's open to everybody, any
Oh, yeah.
artist.
And, but you've got to have your art in quick now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What, it goes on the sight line?
we try first to get big and highly geometric pieces into the major sight lines when you walk into a room.
That's what she was trying to explain to me when I took her to Gualala Arts to
Yeah.
see the latest.
And then you build around those major pieces
Right.
to put in compatible pieces that are compatible in terms of color, shape, mood. And that's what is fascinating, because there's so many ways you can look at it, and people see each of those pieces differently. So you need a team of people that any one of them can say, I can't stand that piece beside that piece, and we change it.
Mm.
And because with some people, it hits them differently than others. So that's why you use a team.
And did you have something to say, Walt?
No,
Somebody,
I'd
Sean.
like to say thank you, Bruce. You are such a huge part of our art community. You're integral in the studio tour, in Art in the Redwoods. You step up, and I just want to say thank you. And thanks to Mike and Jenny Henderson for all of their work this year on the studio tour. It takes a village, and there's just a few people that do the majority of this village's work.
You're welcome. It's a lot of fun. It's, I think I wouldn't have gotten this old if I hadn't have been stimulated by all the artwork here. This is a wonderful art community. We've got a lot of people that are just a lot of fun to work with and all this stuff. And it improves your art when you see their art.
And I believe it's what draws a lot of people to this coast, because it's a beautiful gem of a town here in Gualala, but the whole stretch of coast from Timber Cove, Jennifer area, all the way up to Fort Bragg. But really in our section, it goes up to about Manchester, Irish Beach.
Yeah.
Elk is a stretch, but this whole area is just so gorgeous, and it has a lot of pockets that are the Sunbelt. And then you have all these artists who are just couched in all these different homes along here. And it's part of the whole community. We have a lot of art galleries here. And this is Gualala on the South Mendocino coast. And we're also covering the North Sonoma coast too. And I just want to thank everybody here. You've done a wonderful job being on the show with me today to explain what's going to be happening on the Studio Discovery Tour. Thank you, Kathryn Weiss. I got that right this time.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Glass jewelry, beautiful necklaces and other artwork that you do, that you create. And then Walt Rush with your beautiful silver and gold jewelry. Thank you for bringing everything together today.
thank you.
Yes.
One of my jewelry magazines a few years ago said there's more artists per capita in Mendocino County than any county in the United States.
Wow. Well, on that note, we're going to say thank you, Siobhan Elder, too, for all your beautiful scarf work and all the other artwork that you do. We're going to see you on the Studio Discovery Tour coming up at the end of the month and into September. Thank you, Bruce Jones, for coordinating it all and for having your art in there, too. And thank you for
You're
being
welcome.
on the show. Thank you for
This
being
is
in the
good.
studio with me.
Thank you, Leigh Anne.
All right, everybody, bye. We're going to say goodbye
Thanks.
to you guys and also to our YouTube watchers. Thanks for listening to KGUA in Gualala 88.3 FM, and go see these guys. soon on the Studio Discovery Tour. That's right here along the Mendocino and Sonoma coast. This is KGUA in